roll. All right, so I have the privilege of having the first couple of questions for you, Kayla. If you could just share with everyone, what was your journey like into entrepreneurship, real estate specifically, but being an entrepreneur, more generally.
Sure. So I went to college for theater and design technology. And then I moved to New York City right after college because that's where you go for that kind of thing. And I started doing that, and it's like a nights and weekends business totally. So it was like 6 nights a week. You're working till like 10, 11, midnight sometimes. I was like, how the heck am I going to build a life for myself and a family if I'm working 6 nights a week till midnight, you know? So I pretty quickly decided this is not for me. So I got my real estate license because I'd always been kind of interested in that. And I figured, the commitment's not huge. I can check it out. I'll move in that direction. If I don't like it, I'll do something else. So I got my real estate license, and I loved it. I joined my first office in Orange County, New York. I hooked up with some investors down there that were flipping houses. I started for them as an agent doing some like re-rents. And then I started doing some project management, some bookkeeping. Little by little, I worked my way into being their operations manager for 3 years and flipping houses with them down in the suburbs of New York City. So like Westchester, Rockland, Southern Connecticut, Fairfield County, that kind of area. And then more and more, I kind of got the itch that I really wanted to do my own thing. Flipping is super like, it's like wholesaling. It's really high volume, right? Like you got to keep those transactions coming and coming in order, to make money. And I was like, I really wanted to build like financial independence for me, for my family. So I thought rentals were the way to do that. So I moved back up to Rochester because that's where I'm from. I'm from Henrietta. And you guys know Rochester is a good rental market. So I moved back up here and I started buying rentals up here. And last year we bought our first 30 units, and this year we are shooting for 30 more.
Listen, YouTube, Facebook. I'm not just gonna let that over our head. 30 units. That is big time. That is big time. And maybe we can talk about a little bit about how you guys scaled up so quickly. But your goal, typically from a wholesaling standpoint, is for every 7 deals you wholesale, the goal is to hang on to one of them, especially if you can get a good deal. Now, for you to go 30, that's big time. That is really big time. So if you could take us back, what influences as a young person did you have in your life where you knew that 9 to 5 maybe wasn't what you wanted?
Yeah, so I grew up in Henrietta. My parents bought the house from my grandparents. Neither of them went to college. My mom is an x-ray tech. My dad is an auto glass installer. And we had a good childhood, but they worked a lot. They worked a lot. They were busy, and it was a constant grind. And I have 2 siblings, and I just saw that, when they weren't working, they were running us somewhere. They had no downtime, and I just, wanted something different for my family, and I want to be able to, provide for my parents as they get older as well, and be able to give them a little bit of a break. So I was just looking for something different than your typical, 9 to 5, but 9 to 5 is not 9 to 5 for most people nowadays. They, it's 9 to 6, 9 to 7, they expect you to take work home, work on the weekends. So yeah, I really was just looking for a different kind of style of lifestyle.
All right, I'm gonna kick the next question over to my little brother Kivo.
Hey, Kayla, how you doing?
Hi.
So, I have to admit, so my wife and I refer to you guys as just Gray Capital in general, as opposed to your individual names, you and your husband Jacob. So it's crazy. So we're talking about Gray Capital's model because we definitely have taken notice to what you guys are doing as a married couple, and basically providing that passive income, and like you said, being able to, kind of decide how and when you work as opposed to having the long days, and then be able to provide some security. So definitely, kudos on that. It's good to see it actually done. You hear about it, you see it on YouTube and stuff, but you're people that we know that are actually doing it. So yeah, shout out to that. So I want to just go back to the beginning a little bit. Let's back up because you did a lot of stuff down in New York City. So in doing that, so all your training or everything that you know is hands-on, or are there some books and other things that you invested in into your real estate?
Yeah, so I've read a lot of books, a lot of podcasts, a lot of audiobooks. I'm a big fan of audiobooks. I have horrible ADHD, so me sitting down to like read a paper book is not a good situation.
Right. Yeah, I have them as well.
Yeah, so I do a lot of the audiobooks. Those work really well for me. And yeah, I don't know, bigger pockets, internet forums, just learning, trying to learn from what other people are doing and not just reinvent the wheel.
So what's your top book on? Because I mean, Audible, we listen to them more than one time. So
Oh yeah. Have you guys read Never Split the Difference?
Never Split the Difference. I was going to say that was one that we listened to how many times, Earl? Like
It's such a good
never
book.
split, never split the difference. People that's out there, it is a
That's the
serious book.
Bible of wholesaling. That's the Bible.
Yeah, I swear that book will change the way you communicate in your personal relationships, your business relationships, working relationship. I mean, it changed the way I look at communication across the board.
Absolutely, absolutely. That was a gem. That was a gem right there. So, not going all the way into what you're doing currently, but how did you guys come up with the number 30? Because for a lot of us, that's a huge number of properties to acquire. So that's going to double this year. But just real quick, what made you come up with the number like 30 is a good number?
So my husband and I, we have like quarterly goal setting meetings, So
Okay.
we get a babysitter and we leave the house, and we sit down together and we look at like our 5-year, and then we look at how we can work backwards from there. So we set a 5-year goal, and then we work it back to like, okay, what do we need to be doing each year to hit that 5-year target? And really what we're working from is like our financial independence number. So like, what's the number that would cover all of our expenses and then also leave us some money to save and invest as well.
Okay.
So, and then we work back from there to figure out what's our average cash flow per door before the refinance, after the refinance, and then just dividing that financial independence number by our average cash flow per doors. And then that just spits out the number of doors that we need to buy. And that's it. We need to buy that number of doors, not we want to buy that number of doors.
All right. I appreciate that. So listen, everybody catch that. That was dope. She started with basically they set goals. So goal setting is what's important too in this business and in life. Because if you don't know where you're trying to go, then how are you going to get there? So obviously she just explained that out. I knew you guys had like some type of amazing system going on.
Somebody said this to me once. They were like, you can get in the car and you can go 90 miles per hour, but if you're on the wrong highway, you're not going to get where you want to go.
Exactly.
That stuck with me. I'm like, yes, you need to figure out your map quest before you get on the road.
Amazing how that stuff applies to everything. Right. Go ahead, Ambrose.
Hey, Kayla, how you doing? Thanks for taking your time out to have a conversation with us today. So being that you have a family, right? I'm assuming you have a busy day. So please give us, the audience, what your day's like when you wake up to when you go to bed.
Sure. So I know it's kind of funny because I said I didn't want the 9 to 5 or whatever. So now I have more of like the 8 to 8, which is, we work 7 days a week all day long, but I have control over my own schedule. So I decide when I wake up, I can decide when I go to bed. We have a nanny that comes in, but she's part-time, and I can come home in the middle of the day and take a break. I'm out rehabbing our properties, but I can come home in the middle of the day and take a break and visit with my son and feed him and, put him down for his nap and then leave again and not have to just drop him off at the babysitter and not come home all day. So, usually we get up in the morning, my husband works the morning shift and I baby the morning shift, and then we switch. And then I work kind of the midday to evening shift, and then we switch again in the evening. And then the days when we have our nanny, she's 3 days a week right now, because that's what we're comfortable with. I don't want to leave him any more than that. He's only 6 months old right now. Those days we both just work the middle of the day shift, and then we come home and have family time in the evening. So I really like the schedule that we have worked out right now. We have 4 units under rehab right now, but it doesn't feel unmanageable, It feels very manageable. It feels doable. So yeah, it took us a little while to get into that routine. I know you guys have kids. You can attest to the first few months are a little, yeah, bumpy.
Yeah, I'm
Thanks for
not sure
that.
if you
I
know this,
really appreciate it.
Kayla, but Mr. Owens over there has a one on the way. So he's
I
going to be
heard. I
super
know.
busy.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. So I'll be going through it again. We'll be going through it again now. So we'll figure it out though.
Exciting. Do you know if it's a boy or
Yeah.
girl yet?
Yes, it's a boy.
Congratulations. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks, huh?
if you need any clothes.
I don't listen because they're all girls in my house, even my dog.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah,
Even
so I'm
the
excited. Yeah, so I'm excited to get some company. Have some bro time and stuff. I'm excited.
Oh my gosh. That's so exciting. Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right. So right now we're at about 30 people on our live, which is awesome. Because I think one of the things that we always try to do is provide some value. And literally, if you guys have comments, put something in the comment box. We want to make this as interactive as possible. So what we want to basically let you guys know that we on our next episode we have coming up, we are going to be featuring an individual that you can. Oh, we got to talk about this real quick. So, Kivo, what should wholesalers do? And Kayla, I'm going to pivot back to this because this is one of the biggest issues that wholesalers have when they peter out of the business. They lock up a deal, but the numbers don't work for an investor. So, Kiva, what should wholesalers be doing if they're not sure if a deal is a deal?
If you're not sure if a deal's a deal and you're struggling with the numbers, then you can just send us over the deal. Again, we like to put it out there that we love to, pay it forward and provide value. So we don't want your deal. We want to help you because we know the universe will swing that help back around to us. A lot of people helped us in the beginning. Countless people. I don't even want to run down the list of people. Her husband is one of them. Like he sat down with me with an accountant and helped me hook up my QuickBooks and all this stuff just for free. They're good people. We're those people. So if you're struggling with a deal or you wonder if the numbers are working, then you can just drop us an email. You can drop us an email at I don't know what the new one is, but the other one is cashdeal2021@gmail. Drop us an email there. We'll let you know what the numbers should look like and what you should be getting it after. And then we go from there. And then you can find buyers like Kayla here because she's looking to buy up the whole city, the whole town, surrounding areas. She said 30 plus 30, so that's 60. And we're talking about 2 people. So just get your numbers right and people will buy them from you.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So what I wanted to do is let me turn off my share here. What I wanted to ask Kayla is our next question is, how has your buying strategy kind of evolved from where you guys currently are to where you started?
Good question. We really spent time up front hammering out the model. So I'd say more than our buying strategy, our numbers have tightened up. So I think in the beginning, we had the same kind of buy criteria that we have now, but our numbers were not necessarily tight. So like now we take our rehab and we add 30% on top of it because your rehab is just, something's going to come up 90% of the time. So I think we've added in those buffers that make it work for us no matter what comes up. So now, we have a rehab buffer, we have a vacancy buffer, especially giving the New York State, landlord tenant laws that are going on currently. You have to be prepared if you're going to buy something occupied, or even if you put a tenant in place, you've got to be prepared to hold that property for potentially 10 months without being able to evict somebody. So I think just building in those buffers for ourselves has been a good lesson over time.
Excellent. Now, share with individuals that may not know, for a buy and hold investor, what's a typical buy box you guys are looking at if someone brings you a deal?
Like, what's the formula that we try to buy on?
Mm-hmm.
So we're shooting for 75% of after repair value total project cost. So I want to take the after repair value, multiply it by 75%. So if you're looking at like $100,000 after repair value, that's 75,000. If it needs $25,000 of work, now I'm down to 50, and then it's 5,000 in holding and closing, say. So I'm looking at 45,000 is, just a rough calculation. That's what my buy price would be on that sort of thing.
So for our new wholesalers out there, you got to understand, if you find a property and it has an ARV of 100 grand, but you're trying to find an investor to buy that 70 grand, that's not a deal. That is not a deal. You have to factor in you got to think about, if you take down the property yourself, what would your outlay of capital be? And so if you approach every deal in that way, you're bringing good deal to investors. Because the bottom line is, we only get 24 hours in a day. And if we're just sending terrible deals to our investors, pretty soon they're not going to look at our emails. So
yeah, and I think if you have a deal right now, the deals are so scarce. If someone's going to buy that immediately. Like, if you're not getting traction on that deal immediately, it might not be the greatest deal.
Absolutely. All right, let me kick it over to you, Kiva.
Okay. Yeah, because I see I'm looking at the time, because we try not to hold people for too long. So again, we do appreciate your time. We know how important everyone's time is. So I want to ask you though, and sticking what you guys do, it's important. You need financing for this. You need money to finance your product. So your process. So in starting out, how did you guys find money? Like in the beginning, like to get your first, I don't know how many you got in the beginning, 1 to 3 properties.
So in the beginning, I spent a lot of time trying to network with the local investors in the area. And then from there, having them refer me to their hard money lender and let the hard money lender know, oh, hey, I spoke to Kayla. She's going to be calling you. So I'm not just like, sorry, I'm not just cold calling hard money lenders like, hey, can I have some money?
Right.
And I really think, especially if you're wholesaling, like, you have such an advantage, because like I went straight into buy and hold after working as an operations manager, but I was able to leverage my experience as an operations manager to say, hey, I know I'm buying my first house, but this is just my first house with my money. I've bought, dozens of houses with other people's money and, flipped them and have been profitable on them. I'm just looking to do this on my own now. And you're probably not going to get the best terms on your first hard money loan, in my opinion, at least. Shop it around for sure. But I know my first hard money loan is not the same as the terms that we have on our hard money loans now, if that's the route that you're going. But yeah, as a wholesaler, I think leveraging that experience that you have, that you can show that you've wholesaled however many properties successfully, it shows that you know your numbers, and you're not just like throwing something at the wall to see if it sticks, right?
Right. Okay, so again, she's dropping it to us, y'all. Listen up. Basically, what she's saying is relationships and networking is extremely important, because a stranger's just not going to give a stranger money to invest in or flip a property. It's just not going to work like that. So you need to get out there and, well, did my screen go off? Am I back? Okay. Yeah. So you need to get out there and you need to network and talk to people, let them know what you're doing, let them know your experience, whether it be from wholesaling, like with Kayla, from managing other people's money, or some other type of real estate, or maybe another business. Whatever it is, they need to know something about you and your character, because it is kind of like a character base. And then from there, you can snowball to where we were talking to some of the other, I was on the private money and hard money phone call with the local REIA group last week. And some of the hard money guys, they just not give people money, but give people money. Like, he was like, I have certain people that call me like, hey, I have a deal. And he's like, hey, how much do I need to send you? And then he gets paid in the back end. So it's definitely about that, and nurturing and fostering those relationships.
Yeah, that's more or less the kind of relationship we have now. Like, I know the kind of deals that my hard money lender doesn't want anything to do with, so I don't put those under contract. But I just call him up now and I'm like, this is the project, and he's like, all right, I'll take a look at it, and then funds it. So, but that took time to build that relationship.
Right. But it's got to be great now to have that relationship.
Yes, it's definitely worth building.
Sweet like Sunday morning, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. That's good. Go ahead, Ambrose.
So my question is that how are you guys acquiring properties, right? Are you guys getting most of the properties from wholesalers, or are you marketing for it yourself?
So we currently don't do any direct mail marketing. I am more than happy for the wholesalers that have spent the time building up their business and honing that craft of negotiating directly with sellers. I am more than happy for you to take your fee as long as the numbers work for me. I'm not counting other people's money over here.
Right on.
I don't have the time necessarily right now, to be doing the direct mail. It's a whole business in itself, just wholesaling. And I think some people don't realize that. So yeah, I'm not in the business of wholesaling or direct marketing. I thought about it. I might do some very, very narrow direct mailing this year. That's just, I've got one list in mind that I want to take a look at. But other than that, yeah, we buy 100% from wholesalers.
Perfect. And also, how can a wholesaler reach you if they want to get in contact with you?
So Instagram is a really good way to reach me. I get a lot of messages on there. I'm that landlady on Instagram. Or you can go to my website. It's graycapitalgroup.com. And we have a little email box that you can go to from there. Or yeah, probably those are the two best ways.
Thank you very much. Earl?
All right, so Kayla, as we kind of round this up, so we're big on entrepreneur spirit. People breaking out of the 9 to 5 and really kind of living life on life's terms, because that's the American goal. That's when I served in the military, that was why we did it, because this is the land where you can come from another country with nothing, and opportunity will allow you, if you're willing to work, to create something out of nothing. So if you could just share with us, your initiative, because you lead a landlord association. If you could just share a little bit about that, and why it's important for people to understand that landlords not getting their pay hurts everyone. I mean, it doesn't.
Ugh,
I
yeah.
think there's a skewed vision of what this fight is all about.
Yeah. And I think the thing that most people miss is that the last thing in the world that I would ever want to do is evict somebody. I'm a housing provider. Okay. I'm a landlord, sure, but I'm a housing provider. That's what I do. I provide housing for people. And we just did the numbers the other day, and something like 80% of our units qualify as affordable housing. So we're not here trying to, flip the neighborhood and jack the prices up to the moon. We're here to provide safe, nice, clean, affordable housing for people. And a lot of the laws that have come out recently, they're well-intentioned. They are very well-intentioned. However, they end up hurting tenants in the long run. For example, you cannot charge more than 1 month's security deposit in New York State now. Well, previously, if I had a tenant who I was like, I have a good feeling about you, but you don't necessarily meet my metrics, I would charge them 2 months security deposit and they would get in a nice apartment and we would go on our way. Now I just can't rent to that person. So they end up renting from a landlord who is maybe not doing their due diligence the right way. And that is probably an indicator that they're not running their business to the level that they should be, and they might not be maintaining the properties the best. So what I'm trying to say is that tenant probably ends up in a worse unit because of this law that was meant to help them. Right? So it's just really unfortunate. We have another unit right now that we've been so lucky. Most of my tenants are amazing people. Some of them are struggling. We're not moving to evict anybody. I mean, they're trying, you know what I mean? Like, we've worked with people, we've forgiven back rent, we've reduced rent, we've worked out all sorts of situations because we believe that people should stay in their housing. We're not looking to kick anybody out. That's not the goal. But we have like a tenant that they knocked out the heat to the other unit in the duplex, and that woman has a 2-year-old who lives there. It's like, they're messing with the washer and dryer, they're getting hostile with them. Like, it's like, why, and you can't evict those people because of the eviction moratorium. It covers them, even though it has nothing to do with COVID. So, it's just, landlords are housing providers, but we can't be a charity because then our businesses are going to go under, and it affects all of our other tenants who are still paying because then they're not getting their maintenance done on time. They have nuisance tenants that they have to deal with that, can't be evicted. So it's just a whole snowball effect. And, I'm sure you guys know about the TPA and all of that. So yeah, laws, I think the main takeaway from it for me is that laws that are good for landlords are actually also good for tenants in the long run. They're mutually beneficial. It's when you create laws that are really weighted on one side, it really ends up hurting both parties in the long run.
And the one takeaway I want our viewers to kind of get is, I think there's a false narrative that housing providers are inherently bad for the community. Where, in other words, what we need to understand is, if I'm a let's take this out of the context of real estate. If I'm a mom and pop store, and then all of a sudden a law comes out where I can only, like, say, operate for half the time, which means that my operational costs stay the same, but my ability to pay my employees and other people is affected. So, we got to have a more of a holistic way of looking at, what's going on. And Kayla, there's some other laws that are going on as well. Could you speak a bit about that as also?
About evictions or?
Well, I think one of the laws I heard is, so if you are interested in purchasing a property, making it beautiful again, you have to hang on to it for a certain period of time, or you're going to be taxed a bit differently.
If you're flipping a house, yeah, there's, really high capital gains tax in New York. So it doesn't, make sense to necessarily do that unless you're going to hold it for more than a year. And even then, it has to be your primary residence, and it has to be under a certain amount and it's a different amount for whether you're single or a couple. But there's a lot of different laws. In New York State, you can't ask people if they had a prior eviction anymore, which is really hard because if you were, say, doing car loans, right? That's like saying you can't ask if they had a car repossessed before. It's like, that's kind of risky, right? For landlords, we're like, have you been all the way through eviction court before? That's kind of a red flag, right? Like, you want to know that if something goes wrong, you can talk to that tenant and say, hey, sorry, this isn't working out. I don't want to evict you, but we're going to give you 30 days. You're going to have to move along, right? And that doesn't count as an eviction. So that wouldn't be covered anyway. What we're talking about is somebody who stayed and fought the whole time to stay there and not pay through that whole 4-month court process. You still can't ask somebody even about that.
Wow. And so people who are looking at getting into this game, there's some inherent risks you take. If you rent to the wrong individual, 4 months, I mean, think about floating money on your credit card for 4 months.
And 4 months is non-COVID times too. During COVID, it's been like a year.
My goodness.
Not to discourage anyone, just do your screening for sure.
All right. All right, let me kick it over to Kiva.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, that is definitely a real hot topic in the real estate realm right now. So, the other thing that I just wanted to add to our viewers and just have it out here is the fact that my first buy and hold, we got our taxes already on it. So, I mean, I'm lucky to have a tenant that's already paying. I inherited a good tenant, but if it was not a good tenant or whatever else for like someone like you, so the county already wants their tax money, is what I'm saying. So people still have to pay. So the
Yep.
money has to come from somewhere. So it's totally unfair for people to be able to go to work and or get unemployment and then be able to I don't even know what I want to say because I want to say some stuff, but just mess off with that money.
Yeah, I heard
That
somebody
is,
say it's like, somebody compared it to them like shutting down the restaurants, right? But somebody told me it's not just shutting down the restaurants. It's like telling the restaurants, you have to stay open and you have to serve people, but you can't charge them. That's
yeah,
more of a direct comparison because we're
it's
still doing the
absolutely,
maintenance, paying the taxes. Yeah.
it's absolutely unreal. So yeah, again, I don't have a closing question for you. I just wanted to chime in on that. And again, thank you for your time and let you know that we look forward to working with you soon and continue to follow and watch what you guys are doing because you're definitely making it real for what's actually going on. I'm a person that like I live off tangible things. I actually have to like see, touch, or feel them, and I see what you guys are doing. So it's definitely inspirational.
Thank you. Yeah. If anyone ever wants to like run through some of the projects with us or, send me more wholesales, guys.
We're working, like we said, our market is tough.
It's
Here.
tight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
our market is tough. The good stuff is tough. Like so.
Yeah, you guys only send good stuff though, so I appreciate that.
We're trying. We're trying to get better. We're trying to get better at it.
Hey, so I don't really have a question either. I really appreciate you coming up here and really giving us, a little insight of what you do. And I want to apologize for that introduction. It was terrible.
It's okay. You were drinking your gallon of water, He's like, I'm in hydrate mode right now.
So I'm just happy to, have somebody who we can call whenever we have a deal. We
Yeah.
have a lot of people as well, but warmer to be added to our list is a plus. So.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me. This was fun.
All right, Kayla, we can't wait for an opportunity maybe to bring you and your husband back in a couple months just to see how we're doing in terms of hitting those quarterly goals.
I know you guys are my accountability crew now. I just told you that what we're gonna do. So now I gotta go do it.
Absolutely. We're here for you. No, we really, really appreciate you taking your morning away from your family to come share with us and our followers. And again, we cannot wait to have you back. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. All right. So, hey, guys, we are Real Housing Relief, revitalizing the community one property at a time. Thanks again, Kayla.
Thank you.